To Thompson Public Schools, but more specifically Mary R. Fisher Elementary School. My name is Melinda Smith. I'm the superintendent here. This is my 7th year as superintendent in Thompson, so I want to welcome you here. How many of you have had children in the system before? Okay, great. So you're very familiar with the school, and for everyone online, you can put a hands up if you've had children already in the system. The reason we arranged this family night this evening is because the Connecticut legislature has imposed an age change for kindergarten for the upcoming school year. So we wanted to talk to folks a little bit about what that age change means, and go through the process that if your child is not 5 by September 1st, what options do you have? So we're going to start with that, and then I'm going to turn it over, and this is Principal Larry Prentice. He is the principal at Mary L. Fisher, and Mary Ellen Jones. She is a special education preschool and kindergarten teacher here, and she's been here probably longer than Larry and I combined. So anyway, let's start. So first of all, how do I change the slide? Right, you're going to multitask? Excellent. Next slide. So, starting on July 1st of this upcoming year, children must turn 5 on September 1st before they can enter kindergarten. The legislature also said that if you have who did not turn 5, but would like to enter kindergarten by December 31st, a family must submit a written request or a waiver form, which you'll find on the website, and send it to Principal Prentice saying that you want to put in a waiver. What will happen as part of that legislative decision is that the school team will conduct assessments of the child to ensure that admitting the child to kindergarten is developmentally appropriate. So our school-based team is going to do assessments for those students that don't meet the criteria of being 5 by September 1st. So that's something you need to weigh in. Let's go to the next slide. So some of the considerations that we think about as school administrators is that the state did not provide a consistent set of criteria for every school district. They didn't do that. They just said your principal must provide a waiver. So every school district in the region is doing something different. As far as even the assessments that we're using are definitely different, right? We're using one particular assessment and Putnam might be using something else. So that was a challenge. So we determined with our early childhood team here, what assessment we felt would measure a child's ability to have good self-help skills coming into kindergarten. We know we're going to teach the curriculum to your children, but what we wanted to make sure is that could they come into kindergarten and be independent, use the bathroom independently, those important skills that are time-consuming for a classroom teacher to teach. So we expect that those children will come in with those skills. So one of the assessments that we're looking at is measuring that developmental stages of your child's development come in. So here's our plan. Next slide, Bryce. So our plan is that anyone here that's wishing to enroll their child in kindergarten will follow this enrollment process, especially if your child is not 5 by September 1st. So you would have to submit a waiver. That waiver will be online. You can fill it out and you can send it in to us. The child is going to complete the regular kindergarten screening. So any child that's coming into kindergarten, there's a battery of assessments that we give any child coming. So all children will get that kindergarten screening. Yeah.
Can I just interrupt you for a minute?
You may.
So this group here, everybody here, your child is after September 1st, correct? So at this point, the protocol will be to register for preschool. Once you register for preschool, then you can put in the waiver. And then there will be assessed. And then the decision will be made to go to the. Does that make sense?
I didn't realize we were registering for preschool.
Yes, because they're not age eligible for kindergarten at this point. I mean, they're not age eligible at all if you're born after September 1st. However, you choose to put in the waiver, You can do that, but we are asking that everybody register for preschool. Then you put in the waiver, and then the assessment will happen, and then the determination will occur. Whether your child will go to kindergarten or preschool. But you should
already in.
if you're in preschool here, you do not need to register. So I'm sorry, I just wanted to make that clear because up here it says,
Because I think that changed. Because initially I think we were taking waivers for any child coming in, even if they weren't 5. But you're telling families, go ahead, register for preschool,
Yes.
put in the waiver.
yes,
And then we'll move forward from there with the assessment.
correct.
So then what will happen is, your child will be scheduled for assessment date, to come in and have those assessments done, those tests done. We are using the Brugant's portion of the Brugant's early childhood assessment, and it's a standardized assessment for young children, and it's widely recognized, across the nation. So it's a good indicator if your child is ready to come in developmentally to kindergarten. They certainly must meet that benchmark criteria to be admitted to kindergarten early. So for you folks who, everyone is under the September 1st age benchmark, registering for preschool, and then if your child does meet that criteria, then we will talk to you about having your child come into kindergarten. At that point, if your child does fail to meet those benchmarks, we can have a conversation with you if there are seats available in preschool. And you might want to think about coming into preschool. Preschool is a tuition-based program. So it's on a sliding scale. And so you could weigh that option. So that is another option that we would have. So I can understand why you would want them to enroll in preschool.
If you wanted to go through the process, you have to enroll him, and then you would enroll him for preschool, and then you'd sign him up for a preschool screening. And then at that point, then you can discuss what to do that.
Excuse me, like if they're already in preschool, are they being taught these things already, the skills that they're gonna need to go into kindergarten as well? So
Well, they're being taught,
they are, so,
but
I mean, parents-
even if they're not, if you have a current preschool student and they're not age eligible to
Right.
move on to kindergarten, they still have to take that assessment.
right,
But they're being taught the skills that they need, but they still have to take that test if they're not.
so if they take the test, they do well, and we're just talking, the age issue, is there an opportunity for them to be advanced into second grade, or are they gonna be automatically held back because the law says they changed the
Well,
age?
the waivers. Them passing the test allows them to move to kindergarten if they're not age eligible. That's the whole idea of the
Oh, okay,
waiver
right.
is to get those kids that aren't really quite kindergarten age to have them demonstrate the skills and academics necessary to be a part of camp.
Go to the next slide.
I have a question online. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When will they be tested?
So we're hoping to get them done the last few days of school, which I'm not even sure what that date is.
Okay, that's fine. I just didn't know if it would be into the summer. I guess I just need to know when we would find out so I can make alternative plans if necessary.
Yeah, we're asking that all parents register. And if you are gonna put in a waiver, do it by first. Because there's a lot of,
By what? I'm sorry, I want to write that down.
so if you can get them in by June first, then we'll know how many children we need to screen and make that determination. Which grade level they'll be in.
Okay. Thank you.
I have a question online as well. If my child is not age eligible and I feel that he is not mature enough to go on to kindergarten, do I still have to fill out a waiver and he still has to take the test?
Not
You
at
don't
all.
have-
No. Okay. All right. Thank you.
So after you pass the test, put in a waiver for the kindergarten street sweeping. Yes. Result of that will be mailed home to you, and you'll be notified whether or not your child met criteria. If you get the results and you have questions, you can always call Principal Prentice and he can go over those results with you. You can request a meeting at that time to go over those results. Your level of appeal is to Principal Prentice. However, the decision that the team makes at the school building level is a final decision. So there's no appeal process after. We wanted to make that clear. That, you know, putting in that request, and that if your child didn't hit the benchmark, you can have those results explained to you in a big meeting. However, whatever the determination is made by that team, that will be final. And then the other part of it is that the parent and guardian, the current Marriott Fisher Elementary preschool students who fall short of the age requirement to enter kindergarten is really encouraged to meet with your preschool teacher and have that conversation with your school-based teacher, because they know your child best and they will be able to guide you. Is this a good idea to put in a waiver, or is preschool really important for your child for another? So that's the change. The bad thing is if you move from Thompson and you put in a waiver and say your waiver is granted, and then you leave Thompson, you move to another town, there's no guarantee that the waiver process that we went through here in Thompson is going to be accepted in that other district. And that goes back to my second slide, which says there was no consistent criteria set by the state, so that everybody's doing their own thing. And I wouldn't know what another district is going to accept. So I like to put that out there on the table as well. But just the general kindergarten process, I thought I would turn it over to Principal Prentice so he can go over some bullet points, just the general enrollment and registration.
Yeah, thank you. So, Mr. Obiak, one of the current preschool teachers and I met today to kind of discuss some of the frequently asked questions that'll most likely come up during this process. One of them, believe it or not, is we've had some parents that say, well, what's going to be on that test that you're going to give our children? We're not going to share with you what's going to be on the Brigant test that Mrs. Smith indicated, but this is the packet that you're going to want to take home to take a look at in terms of what skills K students should be familiar with as they come into school. So this packet you definitely want to read over and really pay attention. So again, we're not going to share the answers of the Brigant test, but this will give you information that you need. Another question that, yeah, you're right.
And this is from the state, and this is also from websites and things. These are your basic skills that that they should have going into kindergarten. Both of those.
Another question that came up: can parents be present at the screening process? You can be present during that process. We obviously ask that you sit on the side and you let the teachers do what they need to do. But the interesting part about that screening process is, so the Brigant gives you an idea of academically sort of where they're at, but the screening process really tells the teachers more of an in-depth level of where the kids are at socially and emotionally, which is at that pre-K level and K level, a really, really important piece. That the teachers are really able to glean some important information when the students are with them in terms of the social and emotional, not necessarily the academic. I think.
I'm sorry. Can we get a copy of the packet as well for us who couldn't be there tonight?
Yeah.
We're going to put it up online, so we'll be able to get it tomorrow.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I think it'll be on the website, and I think additionally it is linked to the invitation that we handed out. But Yeah, we will definitely make sure you get that. Again, I think Mrs. Jones had indicated the waivers. If you are interested in a waiver, they have to be submitted by June 1st. That's a necessity. The individuals that are here, that's gonna provide them with at least a couple weeks of time to test those kids, and do what we need to do, and get those kids placed where we need them placed. Let's see here. Other than that, yeah, I think again, Superintendent Smith had mentioned this. The timelines are important. They're pretty much hard and fast in terms of September 1st being that entrance date. We've already had some parents, believe it or not, that are literally the day of or a day after that they don't meet that criteria. And we really have to stick to that. So even if they're over by a day, we still have. I'm talking about like the waiver piece. If you're a preschooler trying to get into kindergarten before your age.
Things over.
Pretty much it. And then make sure, obviously, if your child is a student here already, do not have to do those screenings. But if whomever is listening to online, May 8th, like there's have you sign up for those screenings by May 8th.
And all of the registration, information is online. It's quite extensive. It's quite a long list of documentation that you need to register your child. You might have to take a look at that. You do need a hard copy of it, so you don't have, you can come to the office and pick up a hard copy packet, or you can use it. But definitely make sure if you can't accept a packet that's not. So, and there are quite a few things on there. It is.
I'm sorry, it cut out for a second. So if our child is already in the preschool program, do we have to do anything with the registration or just submit the waiver?
Yeah, just submit the waiver.
Okay, all right, it
If
cut out
you're
for a
not-
minute. I wanted
yeah.
to make sure. Thank you.
And all of these skills packets will be on the.
I just said,
Okay.
so between here and that, I'll get them up tomorrow. I would wait by noon time.
And the pre-K and K handbook is also online.
Mhm.
Take a look at that.
We have kid in, we would have to register him preschool year, pay the admission
No,
fee or.
no. I mean, not yet, until they,
So you can enroll them without
because if you decide not. to
having. So then I
send them
say,
here,
yeah, we would be.
It's fine.
So we enroll him into the preschool, submit the waiver, take the test,
And it's
hopefully
late, it's all-
pass it.
Yeah, another thing to, think about. Another thing to think about too is we have one, session of full day kindergarten, preschool, meaning, the full day. The rest are half day preschool. And that full day preschool is the school readiness, program, which is a whole other level, it's based on. So I would recommend that you all fill out the school readiness, even if you think you might not qualify, fill it out anyway. That's an application. But, so those spaces are limited. There's only 12, and the rest of them are half it. Yeah. And I do know that some of the daycares in town are not taking. That brings it to a whole other level. You really have to consider. Hopefully that'll be changing with new daycare coming in, but it makes it difficult.
Yeah, our thoughts,
Yeah.
we already.
But really, any clarifying questions, please feel free to reach out to myself, to the front office. We'd be happy to assist you with this. We understand, we're fully aware of the challenges that this places on families and the stress that it places on families with respect to the new guidelines. Thompson's not the only town that's feeling it, it's statewide. We understand the challenge. Going to work with you, and I feel like we put together a pretty fair process here. Yeah, any questions? Please.
You all of the handout. And the waiver will be up there along with all the other registration.
It's really.
Actually. Kids that are in preschool now, obviously it would stay, but the new entry age for the kindergarten entry age is September 1st, and preschool entry age, they have to be 4 by September 1st. So that changes as well. It used to be September 1st. Yeah, but that has changed.
Thank you so much.